Hey, what's up guys, Jordan Anderson here, and today I want to talk about the business strategy of buying a camera versus buying lights. Okay, let's get into this. Let's just talk about overall business strategy as a cinematographer, as a sort of freelance shooter, and how to make yourself more attractive in the market and meeting the market needs of your local area. I've talked a little bit about this. I might link it up here somewhere about how to buy a RED camera. I talked a while back about why people or how people buy such expensive cameras. So let's talk about the first reason why someone would buy a camera or buy lights. The first reason is direct income. So they're going to take the camera that they have, they're going to take the lights that they bought, and they're going to become a mini rental company. So they're going to make direct income off the rental days of the camera that they bought. So let's keep with the RED camera example. Somebody buys a RED camera, they have everything, all the accessories needed, so now they have a full RED package. They then rent that out on a daily rate. People pay them and then they send an invoice. So that's just like direct income. The next one I'm going to call indirect income, and that could be like, you call that branding, you could call that business strategy, but this is using that asset, using the camera or the lights to get you jobs that you wouldn't be able to get otherwise. If you ever looked at some production gigs, if you looked at like job listings for cinematographer, some people are looking for what's called an owner-operator. They own the camera and they're also able to operate the camera. So a lot of people you'll see in their Instagram tags, RED owner-operator. And the reasoning behind why a production company would look for specifically an owner-operator is not always clear, but one reason that sticks out is they're looking for kind of speed of production. They're not looking for just an operator, because if they just have an operator, then that means the company has to go and rent a camera, they have to go pick it up, they have to drop it off, they have to post insurance for it. As a cinematographer, you say, yes, I know how to use a RED camera, but then they give you this RED camera and you're like, well, I'm not exactly familiar. This isn't quite the camera I'm used to working with. So there's that like kind of lag time as a cinematographer where you have to learn or get super acclimated to the camera as quickly as possible. And that can take some time. You know, you may need a day ahead of time just to get used to the camera, test the camera out, so then on production day, you're able to kind of just get it and go. That's like kind of a speed, efficiency, money reason why a company would look specifically for an owner-operator. If you're an owner-operator, it's your gear, you know where everything goes, you know how to assemble it, you know how to troubleshoot it. That's why someone is an owner-operator. And you can use both strategies. You can do direct income, you can do indirect income at the same time. You can sell yourself, I'm an owner-operator, I have the gear to do this job. When the jobs aren't coming in or it's kind of a slow period, you can rent out your camera as sort of a supplemental income. These are investments. You know, an investment, whether it's stocks, a house, or a camera, or lights, or equipment, you want the investment to last as long as possible. You want it to have a positive return. You put money in, you want more money out of it than what you put in. You don't want the value of your investment to get cut in half instantly, or you don't want it to lose value. You want it to stay as valuable as long as possible. Not everything can stay valuable as long as possible, but you know, if you want 3 to 5 years out of it, then that's a good investment in your mind. So you have to look at this like, if I'm buying this camera, is this going to make me more money? Is this going to is this going to spread my reputation further? Is this going to help my personal brand? Is this going to improve my work and then therefore get me more jobs? You're just going to have to like think about, if I get this, how will this positively affect my business? And then you also have to think about, okay, if I get this, how will this negatively affect my business? Could this be a burden on me? Now I have to make these payments on this camera or on this light package, and now the jobs aren't coming in. Now I'm having a cash flow issue. There's one example that sticks out most in my mind about buying a camera, and that is the Canon C300 Mark II story. Just a few years back, I know it was a long time, but if you remember when Canon C300 Mark II came out, there was only the C500, there was a C100 Mark II, there was no C200, there was no C700, it was 100, 300, 500. So then they came out with this Canon C300 Mark II, which was better than the 300 and better than the 500 to some degree, and that came out at $25,000. I know a couple people that bought that camera day one, or they have like very early models of Canon C300 Mark II. It was $25,000. And then about a year and a half later, they started, Canon was expanding their cinema line, and they cut the price of the Canon C300 Mark II from $25,000 to $9,999. $10,000, and that was instant. Like if you were looking on B&H or whatever, and the camera was $2,500, the next day it was worth $10,000. For someone who doesn't own that camera, that was fantastic news. That means, that's a huge discount, over 50% discount on the camera that you were thinking about buying. This is a great cinema camera. This is a workhorse. If you own this camera, your investment just got cut in half. If you were anticipating to resell the camera or sell it to somebody else, there's no way that you can sell it now for $25,000. It'd be like you bought a car for $50,000 and then the next day it was worth $25,000. It's a huge blow in sort of an investment mindset. So you have to be pretty cautious when it comes to camera technology. Like I have my GH5. I don't anticipate to resell this to anyone. What my mindset for this camera is that it's going to get me more jobs, or that it's going to give me the ability to do jobs currently. You just have to think about it like that. This is all sort of an investment. So if you're buying cameras or lights, you have to think about what's going to last me the longest. And that's why I keep talking about buying lights. There are some cinematographers out there who don't own any cameras, they don't own lenses, they just own lights, and they'll bring their lights to set on the project, sort of like, hey, you don't have to get a lighting package, I've got that. And then based on the project, if it's a 4K, 8K, HD project, they'll rent the cameras based on the specs of the project. Lights compared to cameras have a much longer shelf life and are able to sort of retain their value much longer. LED lights have come out and they've totally revolutionized everything. We're using LED lights here. That's all I use now. I don't own any tungsten lights anymore. Got rid of all that. You can use a Mole Richardson light from the 1980s and still get a really good quality of light, nice tungsten light. But if you bought a camera from the 80s and used that on your project, you would obviously not get the same amount of quality. A light like that has a much longer shelf life. So if you're thinking about that as an investment, maybe lights is something that you should invest in versus a camera. Or if you're going to invest in a camera, not think of it as something that is going to retain its value. Just if you're going to buy it, think of it as a loss leader. You know it's going to lose money, but you know that the jobs you're going to get from it are going to pay for itself. So my name is Jordan Anderson. Thanks for watching, everyone. Leave something in the comments about which strategy you're going with. I'm very curious what you're deciding. Thanks for watching. Be sure to subscribe. We'll see you soon.